Welcome, everybody. Frank Vespi here, Maryland Racing Today, powered by the Racing Biz, theracingbiz.com, and presented by the Maryland Jockey Club. This is going to be for March 10th. We appreciate you joining us here, and you can please like and subscribe, and you can catch us on all the podcast places, Spotify, YouTube, whatnot. And we appreciate those likes and subscribes. Joined today by Danny Eubanks. Dan is the son of an assistant to trainer Annette Eubanks. The Eubanks barn got the 500th career win on Saturday at Laurel when Majorca went right to the front and won a maiden claimer. And Dan, you had to kind of appreciate the way Majorca did that, just right to the front, no fuss, no muss, no worries, never headed, never really threatened, just go on and win.
Yeah, it was a nice win, and honestly, I kind of prefer the front runners. My forte, like you said, they get in less trouble when they get up to the front. You know, every time I got a closer, you run issues with the rides and things like that. But he's been training really well, and it was a heck of an effort for him. I was really impressed.
Yeah, no, there was another horse in there, Lannister, that seemed like a little bit. Probably higher end breeding and whatnot. Seemed like a major challenger. Lannister, no answers for your horse.
No, I knew he looked like he was a speed in the race, and he broke sharp. And Toledo was very comfortable on him, and just seemed to kind of give him a hand ride. Really didn't ask anything out of him until turning for home, and then he kind of shook him up a bit. And him and Lannister, they pulled away by I think like 11 lengths in the rest of the field.
Yeah, and it was a 2-length margin of victory for Majorca. Were you pretty confident heading into this race? You feel like this was going to be the one?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like many others were going to be the one, including the one day before, and so the one I lost 2 weeks ago by a nose. But this guy, I had all the confidence in the world in, and I had him ready, and it was just not in time for the last time this race came up in the book. So I said, you know what, that gives me, in a sense, an extra 3 weeks to get him really ready, and he was really ready.
Yeah, no, and he certainly looked the part there. Majorca getting a 500th win for Annette Eubanks. You mentioned this. I mean, you had a bunch of seconds and thirds while sitting on 498, 499. What was the feeling for you when you finally get over the hump there?
I mean, it was relief, a lot of relief, because I took this over from my mom about 18 months ago when she had her knee surgery, and I said, Mom, don't worry, I'll step in, I'll be at the track every morning, I'll make sure the horses are taken care of. And she never seemed to really recover from the knee surgery. A couple other ailments came along, and it's become another full-time job for me, and I don't mind. I really enjoy it, and I like helping my mom, and we still have good conversations every day about the horses and how they're doing. And it got real frustrating there toward the end when I wasn't hitting numbers. So it's really nice to get that. And it's a big relief. I feel a lot of pressure is gone and off my back, and I could probably enjoy it some more.
Right. When did 500 kind of get to be a thing? Like, when did you say, hey, 500's out there and we could get there? That would be pretty cool.
It was actually in 24. We busted out like 20 wins for Mom in 24. Yeah. We had Band Camp running, Brilliant Ice. We had a lot of good horses. Band Camp gave us 7 of those wins. I think Ice gave us 3 or 4. And I started saying, I said, Mom, I'm going to get you to 500. And she kind of laughed about it, but it was only 15 wins. And I thought for sure I'd get them last year. So, in my eyes, we kind of regressed a little bit on a number of wins for the year from 24, but that was a good number for her.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to set my goals now and moving forward that, I'm going to win 20 races a year. And, I like to keep the percentages high. We were at 18% toward the end of the year, and we kind of slowed down the wins, finished off at 15. And I mean, before this last one, we were at 6% for 26, but
small numbers though.
I'm hoping that'll change here pretty quickly. We got a lot of good runners in store coming up.
Yeah. I mean, you referenced something interesting there. I mean, your mother's been doing this for 40 years. She now has 500 wins from 4,781 starts and 9 million odd in purse earnings. She's never had a big barn, never made more than, never, I think, even made 200 starts in a year. How have you and she previously, how have you managed to keep it going this long as a smaller operation?
Well, I can't really answer that 100% because, I was kind of helping out all along the way. And, I went off and did my own thing. I
Right.
went to college, I went in different careers, but, and I came back more as an owner than anything.
Mm-hmm.
And we did pretty good there for a while. And we did have some disagreements between mom and I and dad. Dad's involved 2 or 3 of us. And, there was a time where it was always my dad, my mom and I, and we'd sit down, come to an agreement on something. And my dad and I would vote, yes, and mom would vote no. And then eventually mom said, you know what, screw it. I'm doing what I want to do. So it wasn't a democracy anymore. It was
She's got 3 votes to your 2, huh?
Dictatorship. So, there was a couple times where I split off and had horses with other trainers. So she didn't have all of my horses. I had different trainers, and what I always supported, not always, but we started running the breeding a little while ago, and the breeding has helped us as far as having a few homebreds. I always try to buy some at the sales, and I will make sure I always buy my mom 1 or 2 throughout the year. And obviously now that's stepped up because anything I'm buying is going to come into her barn because I'll train everything I purchase and keep my eyes on it.
You mentioned in the winner's circle after Majorca won that, after having sort of taken over for your mom, that it's like the hardest thing you've ever imagined. Talk about why is it so hard? What are the demands on you that are especially challenging?
The number one thing that makes it hard is that, you got to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I like getting up early. I'm a morning person, but that's a whole nother ball game at 4 o'clock.
Right.
And then I also, we get done in the mornings, and then I try to make it to my office by 10 and then work a day here. So that makes for a very long day.
Yeah.
But even pull that away and just the challenges of running a stable, whether you're an owner, a trainer, or whatever, or both, whatever standpoint, is that it's a lot involved. And there is, I've learned a lot the past 18 months with kind of overseeing everything when what you have to do to get a horse to the races.
Mm-hmm.
And, HISA has not made it easier. There's a lot of things that you have to do, the post layoff reports, all the medications that get entered, and you got to know when you can run a horse, how long before you got to work a horse. There's a lot of stuff you have to keep up on, and it adds a lot of paperwork to it. And let's be realistic. A lot of these trainers, especially, the younger ones, the newer ones, yeah, no problem. But like my mom and these older trainers, they don't know how to run in there and put up reports in HISA and then other horses and register them and things like that. It's a lot of extra work, but just like any business, you have, in a sense, the horse is your product, but your horse is also an animal, a living animal, and you want to take care of it. So, you want to do what's best for the horses, and it's not always, running and racing and being profitability is always what's best for the horses. And also you have to take in consideration the help. This is a business where you need help, and you need good help. And we are very fortunate to have very good help. We have good grooms, good hot walkers, and good riders. And I can't say that for everyone.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Are there challenges for you guys as a small, like I know you've had horses with Carrie Bryan, for example, who has a pretty big operation up in Fair Hill, and she's got jump horses and flat horses and the whole thing. Are there challenges you feel like that are different for you as a smaller operation versus some of the bigger barns?
Absolutely. I think some of these bigger barns, they're more established. They've been around for a while, and they have, I think, deeper pockets, so to speak, more clientele, deeper pockets, and it's easier to absorb some downtimes. We started, in my eyes, we've done okay this year, but it was a slow start. Here I am into March, and I just got our second win out of, I think, 17 starts. Unfortunately, we had, half a dozen seconds and some thirds. So we did have some decent money coming in, but the challenges are, you have to win races. And, I know even some people that around us that are even smaller operations, and they get a decent horse and they get claimed from them. And it's tough for them to replace those horses. So a lot of times these bigger stables that claim from the smaller stables are making it even tougher on the smaller stables.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, one of the things you just said, I want to touch on a couple of those things, but one of them was you got to win races, which I think a lot of people don't, you hear this a lot. You have a horse that goes second, third, whatever. People, oh, he's cashing a lot of checks, but they go second, third, fifth, second, sixth, third. And at the end of that sequence, you're like, okay, yeah, I just lost $4,000 in the last few months. You have to win races because the purse is so skewed to finishing first.
Yeah. I mean, you get 60% of the purse for running first, 20% for second, 10 for third. So, if you're constantly in the money, I think, first and second, you might make a little bit of money. Third, you'll pay your bills. But if you're not in the money, you're losing money.
Yeah.
So, overall. And there's a lot that goes into it. When you're talking about the feed has gone up, hay has gone up, purses have gone up, but what do you have to pay? The help has gone up, supplies have gone up, everything from blankets to buckets, feed. I had to buy an ice machine, when I started there because I had to have ice for everybody and not, I didn't be running to the store and getting bags of ice every morning.
Bags of ice, yeah.
Yes, now we have the ice machine and people come get ice from us, which I'm okay with.
What do you you had mentioned that your mom was thinking she would retire at 500, and now she's thinking maybe not so much on the retirement thing. I mean, what's your plan here? Does it keep going?
Well, I guess I'll let you know before I let her know at this point. I'll tell her later on today when the overnight comes out, but I've entered my first ones today. I got 2 that I entered today under my name as a trainer that are Rising Sun horses.
Oh, and congratulations.
Sunday will be my first starters, and hopefully maybe I get lucky and get a winner.
Well, that'd be a nice way to start a career, wouldn't it? So, I mean, is your plan to keep being 2 guys here? Dan Eubanks trainer, Dan Eubanks office job.
Yeah, that's my plan. I've been doing the mortgages. I've had this mortgage company owned this thing for 25 plus years. I've been in the same building in Annapolis for 25 years, and I intend to keep that going. But I also intend to keep my parents' legacy going. I intend to keep her barn going, to keep the farm going, and continue this. And I know it might be a little tough on me right now. The pressure of 500 wins was a little tough and frustrating and mentally challenging, especially when you got your mom's failing health, on the other side of that.
Right.
But, it's an accomplishment now. I actually brought the sign to her house yesterday. And I walked in with it, and she's in her chair. She sees it, big old smile on her face.
Yeah.
That made me feel so good that I just can't explain how good it made me feel to see Mom smile. And for me to bring that over, I left it sitting there across the living room because she, from her chair where she could sit there and look at it all day.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to, keep this going and keep everything going for my mom.
You mentioned, some of the barns around you. There are some other smaller stables, some that are smaller than you guys. It feels like we're seeing a lot of, consolidation in the industry, and a lot of the smaller stables are kind of disappearing. Their horses get claimed and they drop out, or their one owner that kept them going gets out of the game or passes away or whatever. I mean, does it feel that way to you? Do you feel like that increasingly the little guy is, under siege, so to speak?
Yeah, 100%. It's not easy to win races, and you have to have good horses. I don't think there's anybody out there that's a good enough trainer that's, can do good things with bad horses. You need to have horses. You can patch up some bad horses and maybe win a race or 2. But you have to have good horses, and it takes capital to have good horses. And if you're, breeding them, that takes even more capital to get those horses to the races before they make more money.
Yeah.
And I used to play the claiming game more than anything. And to me, the claiming game was I was just renting a horse and hoping to win a race or 2, and somebody would claim it back. So that was always a crapshoot, because if you didn't win a race with that horse and it got claimed back, then you were losing money. So, there's so many different avenues to go down to see as how you want to set up your business and how you want to make money when it comes to racing. Do you want to make it claiming horses? Do you want to buy yearlings? Do you want to buy 2-year-olds? Do you want to breed horses? It's just a lot to consider. And in a sense, I kind of do a little bit of it all.
Mm-hmm.
See some claims I like occasionally. I think my favorite spot is the 2-year-olds, buying the 2-year-olds at the sales. I also really like the horses of racing age sales. I've done very well at that.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes with these horses of racing age, my favorite has been the January winter sale down in Ocala, because a lot of guys down there in Ocala, they just pin hook from yearlings to 2-year-olds. And if they buck a shin or pop a splint or something like that, and they can't make the sale, well, the sales, there's a small window in the sale. And once you enter a sale, if you don't make it, you're pretty much, in a sense, stuck with that horse. You're either going to race it, and if you don't race, you try to sell it off the farm, or this January sale. I've been pretty lucky picking up horses at January sale for quite some time.
That's interesting.
I got one this year that I really, really like and can't wait to unveil him. And, the digital sales that are also kind of, to me, they're new as far as 25. I think it's when the digital sales will be getting popular. And there's also some time to pick up some racing horses, some racing stock. Now, the fact that you can vet them out and, do a little bit of homework on them, depending on their location, always try to send a vet to inspect them and look at the repositories. You have a chance to get, some decent horses, racing age sales. But, a lot of times they're either in there that they've done well and people are putting them to get a good price for them and make a profit, or you have some better people with some decent horses that it doesn't fit their game. A lot of people's game, some of these bigger stables and bigger barns, their game, they want nothing but, stakes winners, allowance winners, some of these great, and they'll pay big money for them. And if they don't go well, they quickly will drop them and sell them. And if they buy 10 horses, and they might pay a lot of money for them, but if one of those horses does what they're trying to, get in some graded wins and so forth, be a stallion or a broodmare, that's their game. But that's a small percentage.
Right. And that, as you're saying, that having some trainers, owners that are trying to play at that higher end that only want stakes horses and whatever, gives an opportunity, like in the claim box, for other people to get a horse that can be a really useful horse, maybe isn't quite at the level that the high-end guys are looking for.
Correct. And there's also always that risk. Sometimes when you're claiming a horse or buying a horse of race age at a sale, you're claiming somebody's problem and making it yours.
That's true too.
Sometimes on the lower end of the horses, where if you might have bred a horse and you brought it to the races, and it might be racing decently and getting a check here and there, but how profitable is a horse going to be winning a maiden 12-5 or a 12-5 2 life or 3 life?
Right.
And that's a time where if you're a breeder and a producer, where you're getting 45% of the bonuses of the purse, that the horse gets, sometimes it's better just to drop that horse in and get it claimed. And then you don't have to spend the time or the money. You'll just get checks when they do get in the money. Right. And an opportunity to go find another horse to fill that stall.
So when you breed, are you breeding to race primarily?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, that's the toughest end of the game, it seems to me, because you're out so many thousands of dollars before you ever get to the racetrack.
The only way I feel it's viable is the fact that we have our own farm. If we were paying board, to board a mare in a foal, it adds up. It's almost like paying for training. Instead of paying the $85-$90 a day, you're paying the $30-$40 a day.
Right.
That's all along. With us, it's you still have to, obviously, we've got the farm that we have to maintain and upkeep, and it's a lot of work. Dad does a lot of work, and my younger brother, in taking care of the farm. But we also have there's just as much feed being delivered to the farm and just as much hay as there is at the racetrack. So everything needs to pay for it. And I try to keep it all separated, where all the breeder's bonus and producer's bonus goes into a joint account for Mom and I, that we pay for all the farm expenses and keep the farm.
Well, and then the other thing, of course, as you know, no matter how slow the horse is, he's just as hungry as your stakes winner. So
and I tell, I've got some of my buddies that are jumping in and claiming horses and going in on horses with me. And, they're looking a lot at these less expensive horses, that people are dropping in, running out of conditions and that look attractive. Like, oh, we claim this one, he can win this race. I said, yeah, but what do you do after that? It costs just as much to claim a $5,000 claimer as it does a 50. And the $50,000 claimer is running for a lot more money.
Yeah. No, it's every angle of this game is a tough game. I mean, it's tough to make money with horses.
Yeah, it is. I always say there's a lot of luck involved, and but there's also, when it comes down to you've got to do a lot of work, and you've got to do what's right by the horses, and you've got to pay attention. You got to pay attention to every single detail, and I could go through some of the things that have been missed, like simple things that somebody missed, and the horse injures itself. It's just you have to pay attention to every single detail.
Yeah. Now let's talk a little bit about 2024, because that was obviously a good year for the Eubanks barn, and you got the Maryland Million win, which was first stakes win in a long time for the Eubanks barn, and first Maryland Million win. That was in the Classic with Brilliant Ice. What was that day like for you?
I'll tell you, that was just a magical day. The only thing that would have made it better, well, a couple of things, but number one, and Mom had been there.
Right.
Was recovering from the knee surgery, and she wasn't there. And to see Brilliant Ice, I see you got up on the screen right now. Is a tremendous ride by Barbosa to bring him up along and to get that win. And when he cut through on the rail, that's getting ready to come up here, it was just amazing. I knew this horse was going to fly on by. I've been training him, and I knew how good he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
It was a heck of a run, and I was happy for Barbosa. It's his biggest win. And more than anything, I was very happy for Phil Bartz and his wife, Leanne, because they have been in this business for 30 years. And, they're either good or they're pretty lucky, but they've done pretty well. And this was their biggest win by far. And be a homebred that with them is probably fourth generation.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. And I think that year in 24, excuse me, every Maryland Million race was won by an owner breeder.
And I didn't realize that
is an amazing statistic.
Yeah.
And especially some small guys like us, we had Band Camp just missed by it was a neck or a half a length. He was the chalk in the sprint that. I mean, that was a great year for us with Band Camp. I mean, if we could have added Band Camp to the sprint and, we have Brilliant Ice, I mean, that would have just been tremendous.
Yeah. I mean, it was the whole thing with Brilliant Ice. It was a cool story because the Bartzes, as you said, they've been in the game a long time. This horse sort of traces back to their foundation mare, who was a horse that they had was claimed away by your mother, and then they ended up getting it back and going with her, and then have been with her for however many decades since. So Leanne kept she was intermittently crying in the winner's circle, remembering, all the way back when. So it really, those are the kind of stories like at Maryland Million, you just love those stories.
So, when you think about the horse race, a lot of people get in, everybody gets in, they don't get in with the thinking, they want to lose money. They get in, a lot of them, they want to make some money. A lot of them love the horses. They love the game. And, to go through all those years to achieve what everybody wants to achieve. You want to win stakes races, and if you're in Maryland, you're breeding horses, you want to win the Maryland Million Classic. You want to win a Maryland Million race. So that level of achievement for them and pride, the pride that they show for Brilliant Ice, and now the new one they have, RJ's Ice, his younger brother, it's amazing. And they're very good people. Very happy to have them in my mom's barn.
Mm-hmm. Are they the longest term clients?
Yep, by far.
Yeah.
She's had some old school. I remember Dewey Davis years ago. He was a good client.
Mm-hmm.
But the Barts is what they've been around the longest by far.
Yeah. No, that's cool. It's cool when people stick with the same trainer for a long time and then get rewarded after a number of years. It's always cool to see. When you're watching that race, are you, like you said, when he kind of cut through at the rail, you said he's going to win from here. What's that feeling like?
It was a really good feeling. It was, because I've been, I help out with the breeding. I've been kind of overseeing the breeding for quite some time now. From Band Camp, Brilliant Ice, and others. And just, I have all the pictures and stuff, and remember when they've been bred, they've been foaled, and having them on the farm as babies. I remember their personalities. So to see him coming down the lane like that, and it was a powerful move in a big race. It was a great feeling.
Yeah, I believe it. What's your take? Just curious. We've had in Maryland a tough time filling cards this winter. We learned today that Saturday's card was going to be canceled because of lack of entries. What's your take on all this? What, if anything, could be done differently?
I mean, that's a difficult question. I'm not sure if I'm qualified to answer it.
But then again, who is, right?
Because they can't figure out a solution, so who knows? I mean, the purses are decent, that's definite. Winter racing, I think, is definitely tougher around here, but you have less tracks. Right now we have Penn National, Charlestown, us, Parks. That's like the closest tracks.
Mm-hmm.
In a couple months, when you start getting into May, June, you're going to pick up Delaware Park. You're going to pick up, Monmouth. You have other tracks, Colonial eventually, too. That gives more options. It's tough to fill during the summertime too. It's just as is the winter. Even though you have more horses, there's more tracks open. I don't know what the answer is to get more races to go. I think it's like you said, you see a lot of smaller people being pushed out of the business. We could be losing horses there.
Mm-hmm.
But it was very disappointing to see that card canceled. My dad's 90th birthday is this week. It's on Thursday the 12th. And we had a party planned for him at the track Saturday. From South Carolina, and they canceled racing. And I'm like, well, it's not going to be no fun having a party without racing.
Yeah. Are you doing it Sunday then, or?
We pushed it up to Friday. We're going to do it Friday.
Okay.
His actual birthday's Thursday, but we're going to do a party there Friday for him. And I figured that'd be better than trying to do it Sunday when everybody's going to be stumbling around for the St. Patty's Day party they're having at the track.
Good point. Well, happy birthday to Dad. 90th birthday. It's a nice milestone.
I tell you, he deserves a lot of credit too, because there's a lot of maintenance and work goes into the farm, and he'll be turning 90, and he still sits out there in his tractor, loves to cut the grass and spray the weeds. I think we'd have more grass if we didn't spray all the weeds. But he deserves a lot of credit for the fence and the waters and maintaining everything, and my younger brother. And it's a team effort, a family effort all the way around for every single horse that steps into the starting gate for us.
Yeah, that's cool. That's got to make it all more special when things come together.
It does. It really does. Like I said, when I walked in to the house yesterday with that sign for the 500 wins, and Mom was smiling ear to ear and really excited about it. So,
no, that's good. Well, maybe 500 more.
I don't know where that's coming from. I'm going to start just looking for number one for me, and I'll see what Mom wants to do.
All right, good enough. Danny Eubanks, I'll let you go. Appreciate the time. Appreciate the conversation. And so who are the horses you got in? Is it Friday you said you got them in?
Yeah, Friday I have in, and these are my mom's name, though.
Okay.
Paco the Taco Man's in, and Lovely Looking Lily.
Okay.
Those two are in Friday. And then Sunday, the overnight's not out yet. They're drawing right now. I think I'm going to have I'm a Cutie Pie. Is actually my top horse that is Rising Sun stable for purse earnings, and this new one I claimed that I haven't got a win out of him yet, but I'm hoping to sooner or later. Mugatu.
Oh, former Preakness runner Mugatu.
Yeah, one of my buddies, Greg Sacco up in New York, says, "Hey man, you want to claim something for the Classic?" I go, "What you got?" And I looked at it. I go, "I'll take a shot at that." Of course, the Classic this year turned out way tougher than it was in 24. First time Barbados runner. I mean, I was like, I looked at him like, oof, that's a tough one, but that's what I claimed him for. I got to give it a shot.
Yeah. So those horses are going to run in your with you as the trainer of record?
Yes, sir.
Nice. Well, good luck with them. I want to, before I let you go, I know I already started to let you go, but last thing, because I think it's a cool story. Tell us the story of how Majorca ended up in the Eubanks barn. It was formerly in the Pletcher barn. And I remember looking at the PPs going, well, that's unusual. You don't see that every day.
Very unusual. And I've had a lot of people ask me that question, and I said, long story. And he was pegged to be my first starter in my mind, and I didn't get Mom to 500. So this would be a great story if this would have been my first win, but it's a better story. It's Mom's 500. Carrie Bryan, who's one of my trainers, and she does a great job. She's turf, steeplechase, and won a lot of grade ones races. She's a very good trainer. She called me and said, hey, Dan, I got a horse that I think would fit for you. Basically, there was a misunderstanding between owner and trainer, and the trainer sent him down to have a surgery to remove a chip and gild him, while the owner wanted to retire him and give him away. So, the guy's looking to sell him, and I said, I have a hard time buying a horse that's just coming off an operating table, which he was still at the operating center, not even ready to be released. And she sent me pictures of the x-rays, and I had all the, the reports from the surgeon, and who was Dr. Hogan, who's very capable. Mm-hmm. And, I talked him into a decent price. Basically, I paid for the surgery bill. I said, I'll pay the surgery bill, take him off your hands. You don't have to worry about it. And he agreed to it. And, it was a long road, and it's great. It was a very good confidence booster for me, because took this horse from the surgery table, to stall walking for a month, hand walk or stall rest for a month, hand walking for a month, then a small turnout for a month. And then we jogged him for a month, and then start training, galloping, and just slowly brought him along. And that was the end of July when he had the surgery. So here we are, August, September, October, November, December, January, February. So here we are, 7 months. So that right there should show anybody how much time and patience and money it takes to get into that winner's circle.
Yeah.
So, I compliment Carrie and appreciate her for giving me the call, for turning me onto the horse, and, everybody that helped along the way, from, the surgeon that did the work, Jody Rosso, who runs Berkeley Farms. She did the layup, the first, couple months of layup. And then we brought the horse to the track, where we just started, we'd walk him and turn him out in a round pen every day. And we did that for a month. And then we started training him. So, you've got a lot of people along the way, the groom, the hot walkers, riders, vets, from the farm, the surgeon. A lot of people touch this horse to help him get into that winner's circle.
Yeah. And this is why I've always said, like the winner's circle is like the happiest place on earth. Like, everybody's happy to be there. I always felt like when our horses won, if there were people around, like, yeah, come in. I don't need to know you. I'm having fun. Come have fun with me. Share in my joy.
And lots of times we don't get there, and it's very disappointing.
Yeah.
But so it's nice when a plan comes together, and with Majorca, it was very special to get number 500 for my mom. It was also very special, for Majorca. And there was a happy horse in that winner's circle, and a lot of happy people around him. And, 7 months ago, he wasn't a happy horse, and who knows what could have happened to him.
Right. All right. This time I'll let you go for real. Danny Eubanks, thank you for joining me. Everybody, thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe at all the places you can do that. This has been Maryland Racing Today. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back on Thursday.
Take care.